So, I'm talking today, and I've got my microphone on now, so you should be able to hear me about marketing and continuing the conversation about branding. And branding is basically just creating a simple message that gets repeated over and over again. And this repetition of this message is what develops your brand. It's how you brand yourself, or it's how your business gets branded. So here's a story about Apple and Steve Jobs, and hopefully this will help you get the right mindset before you dive into Pinterest marketing. So if you don't have the right mindset or the right direction or the right goals for your business, it's very, very hard for you to drive and steer your business in the right direction. And you can be doing a lot of marketing in different channels, including Pinterest, and not feel like you're getting anywhere. You may feel like you don't have buyers, you don't have people following you, you're not getting the leads that you need, and there's a reason for that. So I wanted to tell you a story about Apple and something that you can learn from Steve Jobs about how to do effective marketing. These are all things that you need to be putting into place and thinking about now before you fully dive into Pinterest marketing, because it's going to affect how you put up your boards, what boards you're going to create, what kind of products do you want to pin. It's going to affect the entire essence of your business on how you get set up in the first place. So I wanted to teach you the story about Steve Jobs. So in 1983, Apple launched the computer Lisa. And this is about the time when he also was fired from Apple, and he ended up going and working for Pixar for a few years before coming back to Apple. So this is what happened for that computer Lisa is he took out a 9-page ad in the New York Times, and he described all of the technical features of the computer. It was all in technical lingo language. It wasn't very effective communication. And it was basically just a lot of geek talk that no one could truly understand. A 9-page ad. It ended up failing. So he was fired. He went to Pixar. He learned a lot during his time at Pixar. And then he came back to Apple, and he was really effective during that time because of what he learned from Pixar, which was totally unrelated from what he was doing previously at Apple. What it did for him by working at Pixar is it completely changed his focus and direction for marketing efforts. And you probably all know that Apple is very effective in their marketing, very effective. Apple is a company where you need to really pay close attention to what they're doing with their marketing and follow what's happening there and start taking notes and writing down what they're doing and paying attention to how well they're doing it. So this is what Steve Jobs did that changed the entire course, the entire direction of Apple, and being able to finally get the sales that they needed of the products. It wasn't because the products were bad products or that nobody wanted them. The problem was that no one understood it. No one understood the marketing. It was too complicated. So he stripped everything down and he made it very, very simple. Here's what he did. He took the entire focus of the marketing in the campaigns and he changed it from being focused on the product to being focused on the customer. That is huge. And this is where I was talking about how in e-commerce, we tend to focus on products and it's all about products. And we can't seem to get our brains off of products. What's the next product that I should create? What's the next product that I should source and buy? What's the next one that I should sell? But you forget that we probably should be working in the reverse and say, okay, who am I about? What do I want to be about as a business or a company? Who is my audience? Those are my buyers. What do they want? What is it that can help them? And when you start reversing everything like what Steve Jobs did, that's when you become more effective. So instead of putting thousands of pins out there and you say, well, this doesn't work, I think it's because people are confused. So in marketing, if you're not careful, it becomes noise. It just becomes a bunch of white noise that people ignores. And there's a lot of pins that I see on Pinterest that is just nothing but white noise that no one is paying attention to. So for example, if you think that Pinterest marketing is, well, I'm going to go to my products and I'm going to pin a picture of my product off of the product page and that's it, that what you're doing is kind of a waste of time. That's just noise. It's just white noise and it's going to be completely ignored by people. What you need to do instead is have a more effective strategy and think about the buyer or the customer. So when Steve Jobs changed complete direction in his marketing efforts for Apple, he stripped down everything and he no longer did these 9-page ads in order to advertise the latest product. This is what he did instead. He used 2 words and he put them on billboard, 2 words on billboards all across the US. And I want you to think about what are those 2 words. And I want you to write down these 2 words because this is something that I want you to do in your business. And this is something that I want you to do when you are doing marketing, especially on Pinterest, because I think this is actually in alignment with what Pinterest does as well and who they are as a concept. Those 2 words was think different. That's it. That's how simple his marketing was. 2 words, think different. He did not show a picture of a computer at all. There was no picture of the product. It was 2 words, think different. That's it. It was a simple message and it grabbed people's attention. So this is the direction that he went that changed the entire course of Apple. It made it to what it is today. It changed all of their marketing, their sales increased, everything started to go through this filter within their business, which is think different. 2 words, that was it. That was their filter that they ran everything through. So when they did their product development, when they did their marketing, their ad campaigns, everything, it had to go through that filter of think different. So when you are talking about how to tap into your customer, you need to tap into the customer story. And that is what Steve Jobs did that was so effective, is he was no longer working through the product itself first out to the customer. He was moving in the direction of, we're going to talk about the customer first. And all of our marketing efforts is not going to be about the company, Apple. It's not going to be about their product or any of their products. What their marketing is about the customers, and it's about their story. So think different, and that changed everything. So now it's about the customer story. And here's 3 questions that you can ask yourself in order to help you tap into your customer stories. Here's the first one. Write this down. What do customers want? That's the first one. The second one, what are their problems? What are the customer problems? And then the third one is, and this is a 2-part, do I already have a product, or is there a product that I can create that would help solve that problem or help the customer express themselves? So this is what Steve Jobs did. He thought about the customer first. What do they want? What are the problems that they are having? And is there something that I can do to solve that problem? Is there a tool that I could create to help them express themselves? And guess what? Running it through those 3 questions, Apple just boomed. it really took off as a company. So with his time working at Pixar, it helped him to learn this concept so that when he came back to Apple to work, it really changed the course and the direction of the entire company. And I encourage you to do the same thing. I encourage you to think different. So before you get carried away with trying to set up everything inside of Pinterest, your boards, profile, everything, pinning, I want you to think outside the box. This is what I do every single day. And I really want you to think different. I want you to think outside the box, because that is going to be your most effective marketing. It's not going to be what you see everyone else doing on Pinterest. I'll guarantee it. Because about 75% of the pins that I see on Pinterest is just noise. It's stuff that people ignore. They pass by it. They don't care about it. They're not going to save it. They're not going to repin it. They're not going to click through. It's complete white noise. You need to think different in order to blast through that noise. So tomorrow, I'm going to show you 3 questions that you can ask yourself about your subculture in order to get this done. But here's the bottom line of Steve Jobs in the story, and that is that the bottom line is people buy products that they can understand the fastest. People buy products that they can relate to well. They buy products that they become emotionally engaged with. They buy products that resonate with them. So in order for this to happen, it needs to be very, very simple. And we tend to overcomplicate everything as human beings. I've even taken a lot of courses. I've taken a lot of different kinds of courses and marketing courses and all kinds of things to really learn. And I'll guarantee that in almost every single one of these courses that I go through, it's so complicated of what all of these things that you have to do. And what they say is if you do all of these things, then you'll have success. But I began testing some of those things and realized that I don't think it has to be that complicated. And I'll give you an example. I have a couple of clients that I manage their accounts for. I do their Pinterest monthly management, and they do very well with their sales. And what is very surprising to me is how the simplest pins are the ones that drive the most traffic, and they are the ones that get the most sales and the most interest from people. They have the most saves, they have the most click-throughs, and ultimately the most sales are actually very, very simple pins. And it really lines up with what Steve Jobs did with Apple with effective marketing. It's actually stripping it down and making it very simple and saying, here is what we offer, and here's how it solves a problem, and getting it in front of the right kind of audience that aligns with you, with your brand. So people buy products that they can understand the fastest. Write that down. This is how you're going to create your pins on Pinterest. You're going to keep your pins simple. Don't overcomplicate it too much. Keep it simple. And I'll give you more tips and pointers about this later. But the pin needs to be something where they can fully understand everything in 2 seconds visually. And that is one challenge that we have, is it's got to be visual. But yet, on the same token, a picture says a lot of words that are unsaid, that sometimes words overcomplicate. If we try to write it all out, it's overcomplicated. Pictures can say far more than what words can. So what our goal is to show pins that are very, very effective, that will give you the highest number of clicks going over to your product pages, or wherever that you're wanting the customer to go as your end result, that's what's going to produce the most traffic and get you the most sales. So we have to make sure everything is clear, that it's crystal clear with your audience of what your pin is about, and they understand it in your marketing efforts. If they don't understand it, they're going to ignore it, and it will be 100% white noise. It gets passed by. Now, for Merch by Amazon sellers, this is especially important for you because you can cut through the noise really easy at this point. And here's why. When I'm on Pinterest and I start looking up t-shirts and I start doing research to see if there's anyone creating awesome pins, hardly anybody is making really awesome pins where the messaging is very, very clear to people of what they're looking at and what it's about, and does it resonate with them. I would have to say probably at this point, only 10% of the pins are effective that have anything to do with t-shirts. And I'm talking about t-shirts where they're linked to Amazon, they're linked to Etsy, linked to print-on-demand sources or other websites. There's a lot of other Shopify stores that do print-on-demand, and I see pins that are being created and posted there from those sites. And a lot of it is really unclear. And so they're not getting as high of a click-through rate as what they really could be. And so I feel like it's kind of a waste of time because you're just blasting out thousands of pins, but it's not getting you anywhere. And then here's what happens is you say, well, it doesn't work. There isn't anyone on Pinterest interested in what I have to offer, or maybe Pinterest doesn't work. There's a lot of different excuses of how it's basically everyone else's fault, instead of looking back at what you're doing and reevaluate it and say, I need to make an adjustment somewhere. And as soon as I figure out where that adjustment needs to be made, then we'll start seeing a huge difference. The click-through rate will go up and the marketing efforts will be worth it. And you'll be snowballing in the right direction where things will start to really pick up for you. So the key is figuring out, what are those things for yourself? And that depends on who you are, what your business is about, who your subculture is. Pick at least one and define that so that you know who your audience is. And then we're going to talk about the 3 crucial questions tomorrow that you need to be asking about your subculture. And this is going to be your filter where you begin running everything through. So every time that you create a new product, you're going to run it through this filter. Whenever you do your marketing on Pinterest, you're going to run it through that filter. If you want to create some new boards, or you want to go back and do some of your boards, do an overhaul of some of your boards, you want to make it go through that filter. And once you keep doing that, now you're headed in the right direction and things will really start to take off for you. So when I do management for companies, this is what I do is sometimes I don't have anything like this in place, and it might be a little foggy as to what they're about, who is their audience. And so I have to start asking questions, trying to get an understanding of it. And sometimes I don't get clear answers. So then I do my own research and thinking about what is going on. And I say, okay, I think this is the audience, and I'm going to start targeting in this direction, and let's see what happens. And then I start to see some results, and I start trying to target in different ways with creating the boards to be more niche down into different types of things and subcultures. And I start to think outside the box as to what can I do to solve problems and get the interest of the audience. So at the end of the day, if you are a business and it doesn't matter what you have to offer, it doesn't matter if you have products or services or what it is that you offer, You've got to figure out, how can I serve my customers best? And that's where your marketing goes to. It actually is not about your products. And it doesn't matter how many products you have. There are people with thousands of products that are not making any more money than people that have 10 products. You can have one product, and if you sell that one product really, really well, you could become a millionaire on just that one product. Let that sink in for just a little bit. Sometimes that's very hard for everyone to understand, because we're hearing the opposite in the e-commerce world. I heard this with everything. I've heard this back in the day when I did eBay, when I did Etsy. You hear this in Amazon FBA world constantly. And then I began hearing the same thing with Merch by Amazon and print on demand, is I just need more product, more product, more product. It's all about volume. It's all about volume. And I will say it's not about volume. I've learned this the hard way. And I want to change that around for you so that you can start working smarter and stop working so hard. Stop working so hard. You're working too much. Simplify everything. Make it simple. Make your business simple. Make your marketing simple so that you can make more money and regain back a lot more of your time. The top CEOs out there do not run around busy. That's not what you see them do. They're actually some of the most relaxed people that you could ever meet. They have systems in place. They have clear direction. They have clear goals. Everything is simplified. And when you start doing that, then you're going to start working more effectively yourself, and things are going to be less stressful. Because right now there's just too many stressed out people that I talk to on a regular basis. And before I go, I've got one more thing about overcomplicating your message that relates to Steve Jobs and what we talked about with his, first 9-page ad that he did. And the messaging in that ad was very, very complicated messaging. I was working with someone with a business yesterday, and they just, released a new product, and they asked, they hired a person to do their Amazon division. Okay. And they said, would you be willing to go through this product page and evaluate it? So for the CEO of this company, I had been working with them privately for a while, for probably the last 2 years, and taught them everything, taught them how to get your product pages up, keywords in, how to run your ads, the beginnings of marketing offsite, everything. And this is a fairly good sized company. And so we went through the process of analysis of their product page. It was great. It really was. I mean, he really taught his employee well. I was amazed by that. He did a really, really great job of teaching his employee of how to create product pages, and will do an awesome job for him. Here's the problem though. It was an awesome job. He did a great job, but it was overcomplicated. And it was just too scientific that no one could understand the message of, what is a product that I'm looking at? Why do I need it? So we had to strip it down. And instead of saying, according to this scientific case study, which was actually in the product page, we had to strip that down and say, this is how you're going to feel after using this product for this period of time. These are the results that you're going to see. And would you like to achieve the same results? It's as simple as that. So now they're going to go back and work on that product page to simplify it, because it was way too much. It was way too scientific. They were using scientific language, very, very technical language that the average person doesn't understand or know. And all that people want to know is, I've got this problem. Will this product solve it? What other things can it do for me? If the answer is yes, then I'm sold. That's it. Keep it simple. So when you are doing your Pinterest marketing, don't overcomplicate your pins. Don't do it. Don't make them scientific. Don't make them technical. Don't have too much language on the pin itself. Keep the wording simple. In your pin description, don't get technical there. Keep it everyday language that you would just use when you are talking to your best friend on the phone. Keep it very simple, and you're going to have the most effective strategy that's going to start working for you. Okay. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you about the 3 questions you need to ask about your subculture. These are the 3 questions that are very, very crucial, that you need to start running your entire business through these 3 questions. Start running your marketing efforts through these 3 questions, and it's going to change the direction and course of your business, just like it did for Apple. I'll talk to you again soon.